It's time to save the world. Introducing the Sustainable Development Goals to be reached by 2030. Hello team, this is Jarney and Bryoni, and we are looking at the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 and 16 and reasons why they are important. Why do we have the Sustainable Development Goals? To end poverty, protect the planet and ensure prosperity. Aimed to the goals, countries will mobilise all efforts to end all forms of poverty. They will fight inequalities, they will tackle climate change, and no one will be left behind. They will be adopted in 2015 to 2030.
The first focus goals we will be focusing on are 1. No poverty, 2. Zero hunger, 3. Good health and well-being, 4. Quality education. The first goal we'll be looking at is poverty. Poverty is more than the lack of income and resources. To ensure a sustainable livelihood, it includes hunger and malnutrition, limited access to education and other basic services, social discrimination and exclusion, including the lack of participation in decision making. Did you know 836 million still live in extreme poverty? 1 in 5 in developing regions lives on less than $1.25 a day. And according to UNICEF, 22,000 children die each day due to poverty. So here's the world's master plan. By 2030, we want to eradicate extreme poverty for all people everywhere, currently measured as people living on less than $1.25 a day. By 2030, we want to build the resilience of the poor and those in vulnerable situations and reduce their exposure and vulnerability to climate, extreme events and other economic, social and environmental shocks and disasters.
Goal number 2, zero hunger. Right now, our soils, fresh water, oceans, forests and biodiversity are being rapidly degraded. A profound change in the global food and agriculture system is needed if we need to nourish the 795 million people and the additional 2 billion people hungry. Did you know? Looking in the class around you, 1 in 9 people globally are undernourished. 60% of the world's hungry are women. Every 10 seconds, a child dies of a diet-related disease. The 15-year goal targets. By 2030, end hunger and ensure access to all people. By 2030, ensure sustainable food production systems and implement resilient agricultural practices.
The third goal is good health and well-being. This is ensuring healthy lives and in promoting the well-being for all at all ages, as it is essential to sustainable development. There has been significant efforts in increasing life expectancy. However, many more efforts are needed to fully eradicate a wide range of diseases and address many persistent and emerging health issues. Did you know in 2013 there was an estimated 35 million people living with HIV? Globally, adolescent girls and young women face gender-based inequalities, exclusion, discrimination and violence. Children born into poverty are almost twice as likely to die before the age of 5 as those from wealthier families. To reduce this problem, we want to, by 2030, reduce the global maternity mortality rates to less than 70% per 100,000 live births. By 2030, we want to end the epidemics of AIDS, malaria and neglected tropical diseases. We want to achieve universal health coverage, including financial risk protection.
Goal number 4, quality education. Obtaining a quality education is the foundation to improving people's lives and sustainable development. Basic literacy skills have improved tremendously, yet broader effects are needed to make even greater strides for achieving universal education goals. Did you know 57 million children still remain out of school? More than half of these children are enrolled in sub-Saharan Africa, and more than 50% of children are from conflict areas. 103 million youth worldwide lack basic literacy skills, and more than 60% are women. Targets. By 2030, ensure that all boys and girls have access to quality early childhood development, care and primary school. By 2013, ensure equal access for both men and women for education. By 2030, eliminate gender disparities among education and higher education.
The other 4 goals we will be focusing on is 5, gender equality, 6, clean water and sanitation, 8, decent work and economic growth, and 16, peace, justice and strong institutions. Goal number 5 is gender equality. Gender equality is not only a fundamental human right, but a necessary foundation for a peaceful, prosperous and sustainable world. I'll give you a couple of seconds to read the below paragraph. Did you know 2/3 of countries in developing regions have achieved gender parity in primary education? In 46 countries, women now hold more than 30% of seats in national parliament in at least one chamber. Globally, women are paid less than men. Women in most countries earn on average 60 to 75% of men's wages. So here's the world's master plan. We want to end all forms of discrimination against all women and girls everywhere. We want to eliminate all forms of violence against all women and girls in the public and private spheres, including trafficking and sexual exploitation. We want to adopt and strengthen sound policies and enforce legislation for the promotion of gender equality. Goal number 6, clean water and sanitation. Clean, accessible water for all is an essential part of the world we want to live in. There is sufficient fresh water on the planet to achieve this, but due to bad economics or poor infrastructure, every year millions of people die from diseases associated with inadequate water supply, sanitation and hygiene. Here's some statistics. 2.6 billion people have gained access to improved drinking water sources since 1990, but 663 million people are still living without. At least 1.8 million people globally use a source of drinking water that is fecally contaminated. Goal targets we are working to. We want to achieve universal and equitable access to safe and affordable drinking water for all by 2030. We want to support and strengthen the participation of local communities in improving water and sanitation management.
Goal number 8. Roughly half the world's population still lives on the equivalent of about $2 US a day. And in too many places, having a job doesn't guarantee the ability to escape from poverty. This slow and uneven progress requires us to rethink and retool our economic social policies to eradicate poverty. Decent work and economic growth. 470 million jobs are needed globally for new entrants in the labour market between 2016 and 2030. There has been an increase of 202 million in 2012, of which 75 million are young women and men. Target goals. Achieve high levels of economic productivity through diversification, technology upgrade, innovation, with a focus on adding labour-intensive sectors. By 2020, reduce the amount of unemployment in youth.
Number 16, peace, justice and strong institutions. This goal is dedicated to the promotion of peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, the provision of access to justice for all and building effective, accountable institutions at all levels. Goal 16's main discoveries. Among the institutions most affected by corruption are the judiciary and police. The rate of children leaving primary school in conflict-affected countries reached 50% in 2011, which accounts for 28.5 million children, showing the impact of unsustainable societies. Target goal for Goal 16. We want to significantly reduce all forms of violence and related death rates everywhere. We want to end abuse, exploitation, trafficking and all forms of violence against and torture of children. We want to promote the role of law at the national and international levels and ensure equal access to justice for all.
Thank you for listening to the Key Knowledge. We're now going to welcome you to the United Nations Save the World training.